Hi, I'm Zen. Thank you for joining me. In this episode, I will be reflecting on and correcting a few of the mistakes made in previous videos. It's now been some 9 weeks since I created the website and channel, so it's a good time to sort of reflect on how things are going and where mistakes have been made and what the future looks like. So maybe the first thing to point out is how long these videos actually take to make. I didn't guess that it would, doing a 10-minute video, even as the sort of basic videos that I do, no real fancy stuff going on, very, very basic, but even so a 10-minute video can take the best part of a day to actually produce, from filming to processing, editing, and then uploading to YouTube. And that's not including the time it takes to write the script. Originally I didn't plan to really use scripts that much, just the idea was to get my ideas down on writing, to type them into my computer. So I've sort of thought them through. I've got them worked out. I know roughly what the topic of discussion is. But I found that actually what happens is when I start recording videos like this, things just disappear. So with regard to the content of the video, I mean, the videos themselves are not particularly good quality. I'm just using a phone. That's all I've got at the moment to work with. But I'm talking about the quality of the content, of the ideas and theories being put across. I'm not particularly fully happy with the videos I've produced so far. And I think there's a few reasons for that. So something I've noticed is that when I start doing these videos, although one level I'm just sitting in my bedroom talking to my phone, there's no one else here, there's no reason to get stressed in any way, but that's what I find happens. And I've done actual real talks before audiences, got up and stood there and talked about things, and have been quite coherent and intelligent so far as I can recall, and things seemed to go well and it didn't have much stress. But in this situation, it's like there's no one here at the moment, but I know I'm gonna, after recording this, upload it to YouTube, and then anyone can watch it who wants to, which is fine. But there's no contact like you have with a live audience. You can pick up things, from their facial expressions, their body language, and so on. Even if they're not, saying anything, you can still get a sense of whether they're keeping up with you and they're happy with what you're saying and so forth. Whereas in a situation like this, I've got no way to tell how people are responding, and therefore I don't know if what I'm saying is appropriate or whatever, if I'm explaining myself clearly. So I'm finding it quite flustered. It's almost like doing something while being watched, like doing a work task or something. I'm quite an introverted person, and if I'm working away, if somebody starts watching me and I know they're watching me, it completely messes up what I'm doing. I can't concentrate. It's just really really off-putting. So there you go. In these situations, you just have to prepare what you got and give it the best you can, and try not to make too many mistakes, which I've done quite a few, like forgetting I said 100 times 100 times 100 in one of my early videos, and in the script had been 10 times 10 times 10, but I thought when it actually came to recording it, that's 10 times 10, there's not many, it's still 100 times 100 times 100, and then when I try to do the maths, it's like, what's 10 times? Oh yeah, it's 1,000, isn't it? And it's like, it wasn't the original script, because I ordered it, while going along. I completely messed up there, and on another occasion I pronounced the word credulous as credulous, or something like that. It was just, I know how to pronounce the word. What's going on? Another classic one where I got lots. I think this is possibly down more to being slightly dyslexic, and similar sounding words or words with similar ideas behind them can sort of get muddled up. So in the evolution of religion video, I've referred to pantheons and pantheistic religions. Now, although it's true that it's correct usage of the word pantheon to describe a group of gods from a particular culture, like the Greek pantheon, all the Greek gods. But a religion which has a pantheon isn't pantheistic, it's polytheistic. pantheism has a particular philosophical, theological meaning, which is that God is everything. Pan means all, theon, God. So whereas a pantheon is all the gods of a culture, pantheism is belief that God and nature are the same thing, that God is throughout the universe, the universe and God are the same thing. Effectively, everything's a part of God, everything's one with God. So that's almost a mystical form of monotheism. Or in the same video I mentioned about the Celts having a view not of that you go to a Hades, an afterlife, which is pretty grim usually, but they had reincarnation, well, transmigration is the term is used in the texts, but the Celts were around for a long time, covered a huge area, loads of different tribes, and there's evidence that there were Celts who did indeed believe in an afterlife rather than transmigration. So what I said there was just about particular groups of Celts, not all of them. Going back to in my introductory video, I referred to Slavoj Žižek, and I said I didn't know what he was on about, and he just seems to like making dirty jokes, which I was just trying to get a laugh, but it wasn't very fair either to him or myself. I follow his arguments. I know what he's talking about. He's quite clear in what he says. He's got a slight speech impediment, but so have I. So I'm not going to hold that against him. But despite that, his thoughts are clear, and you can follow what he says. Where I get lost is I don't know what he's driving towards, what his conclusion is. Perhaps an issue here that I find confusing about him is that he's associated with communism and therefore Marxism, but he identifies himself as Hegelian. Now, Marx famously claimed to have turned Hegel on his head by postulating that his development of material culture, technology, so forth, is responsible for the progress of society rather than some sort of world soul or idea which Hegel was on about. So he's gone from sort of idealism to materialism. That's him turning Hegel on his head. Hegel, the idealist, Marx, the materialist. But I haven't actually studied either of them in much depth, mostly because I was very influenced by Karl Popper, and Popper's very, very dismissive of Hegel. It's just that he says his philosophy only appears to be deep because it's so poorly communicated, it's so badly written, that you can't follow it. So people have assumed that it's really profound, and you've got to really think hard to follow Hegel. Whereas Popper just says he's just speaking nonsense, but he's covering up what he's saying by being so obscure that people are putting meaning into Hegel when there's none there. So where Popper refers to Marx, he says him turning nonsense, him turning Hegel on his head. Well, all you get. If Hegel's just speaking nonsense and you turn it upside down, all you got is upside down nonsense. It's not a better idea, not a better theory. So that's one of the reasons why I've not been very studied Hegel in any depth. I've read a bit of Marx, but not everything is written by a long shot. So I might actually take some time to delve into that a bit, because I've got a lot of criticisms of communism, and it would be really good. I do just read Marx before criticising communism too much. Communist literature, there's just so much of it, loads of different theorists and that. So I will never be able to cover Marx in real depth, with all his followers. But anyway, so that's an issue with Slavoj Žižek, is how can he both Hegelian and Marxist at the same time when they're quite contradictory. But then Hegel did talk about the idea of the thesis, antithesis, synthesis, as a sort of way ideas develop, theories come along. Somebody has a theory, somebody has a counter theory opposite, and then those two theories sort of come together to form a synthesis of those two ideas to create effectively a new theory, and then a new anti-theory, and then a new synthesis. So perhaps Slavoj Žižek is doing something like that with Hegel and Marx. He's using Hegel as a theory, Marx as an anti-theory, and then these coming together as with a synthesis. Right, so I'm thinking of changing things a bit in how I create videos. Maybe do a recorded opening and close to each video. But for the most part, I have the rest of it filled with text and images, rather than just have me sitting here talking, because I do get distracted and keep referring to my notes, and it's not fun to watch somebody just sit there reading from a screen. So I'll try and get around that. So as I say, maybe film an opening and a close, but for the most part, just read a prepared script. Yeah, see if I can have relevant information. I don't want to have too much information on the screens. I find with videos where they put up lots of text or maps and things, you sit there, they're reading the text or looking at the map, and you forget about what they're talking. You can't hear what they're saying because you're concentrating on what's on the screen rather than what's coming out your speakers. So I mean, you might wonder why I feel the need to be show my face at all. There's plenty of channels where the person running the channel doesn't show their face at all ever. I just have an image or a video, but they just don't feature in it. And you know, my face it's not that particularly handsome, so which I'm not altogether ungrateful for. So you know, why do you need to see my face? It's, well, for one thing, I think these are my ideas and the thoughts I'm getting across. Well, if not, I often talk about other people's ideas, but it's my own interpretation so far, as you know, as I'm aware. So I want to present my ideas because they're mine. Although part of why I'm doing this, part of why I'm getting my ideas out there is so I don't need to hold on to them myself anymore. If they're out there on YouTube, I can forget about them. I don't need to be, you know, constantly thinking about them. Are they right all the time? You know, have I got this point right? If I get it out there, then other people can decide that, you know, whether my ideas are valuable in any way, or if they're just, you know, a load of nonsense and hopeful thinking. Hopefully they're not, but you know, that's not for me to decide. So I'm gonna, you know, do what I'm doing, but it may be a slightly different way. We'll see. And what I've realised is that my original idea for the channel, you know, was to present those thoughts, those of ideas and conclusions about reality, about the universe, about society, philosophy, economics, politics, all those different things. But kind of arch envisioned where I start from the basics of social structure, economics, politics, and so on, and slowly build a model of the world as I believe it. You know, it could be what I see as the line we could go in to get out of our current problems. But I've realised this is, you know, these are all just ideas in my head. When you try and actually get them out there, it's not always easy to get them coherent, sort of thing, you know, to get them fully finished in one go. So what I realise is in these videos, what I'll be actually doing is clarifying for myself what I'm on about, and presenting my ideas, and then then I can sort of view them objectively, like, what's this guy saying, you know, what's he talking about, does all this hang together? So that's what I see this channel now as, producing sort of first drafts, videos that have elements of what I want to discuss and get across, but not in its completely fullest form. That will come as a result of this process, rather than being, you know, the initial outcome. You know, I need to work things through, reassess, reformulate, and then rebroadcast my ideas once I've got them in a more finished form. And the final word on New Scientist, I know, as I said, I'll be reviewing these every week, and I've only done one so far this year. We're now in March. Given that no one's watching these videos at the moment anyway, I haven't done anything to publicise them until I've got enough content up there. So I'm going to put the New Scientist stuff to one side for now. If something amazing comes up in an issue, I might do a special on that. But otherwise, I want to focus on what I want to, my own ideas and thoughts, and building it up to a coherent philosophy. Might take a while, but you know, what else am I doing? So I think that's enough for now. Thank you for watching. If you've got comments on anything I've said, I'll be very grateful if you make them below, and I'll respond to anything you have to say. And until next time, be safe, take care, bye.